Did Im really destroy Lulusia Kingdom? While it seemed like an extremely shocking and exciting event, it's extremely unlikely that the people of Lulusia Kingdom are actually dead. Not only would this event be extraordinarily dark by One Piece standards, yes, we had Ohara in the past, but we all know that Oda is far more willing to let loose with tragic events in backstories, and that is not at all representative of how he's willing to write in the present day. But more importantly, every piece of information we have gotten since the Lulusia Kingdom incident has pointed to one man having actually pulled off a spectacular magic trick right in front of the world government's eyes. The world's smartest man, Vegapunk, saved Lulusia Kingdom from Im's attack, which in turn prompted the world government to send CP0 after him to execute him as a traitor. The very plotline that we see playing out today. So what happened exactly? How did Vegapunk pull this off? And what clues point to this almost certainly being the case? In this video, we're going to be backtracking the series of events and everything we have learned about Vegapunk, his capabilities, his motivations, and why the Egghead Island conflict is happening in the first place, all of it tying back to Lulusia Kingdom. So before we get into it, make sure to subscribe for more One Piece videos every week. And also make sure that the same way that Nami safely navigates the seas, you safely navigate the internet with Surfshark, the sponsor for this video. Surfshark is the VPN I use. I know many of you use VPNs, and in case you don't know, VPNs let you easily change your location online to literally anywhere you want on the globe. So the last time you looked up a TV show or a movie and saw that it's only available for streaming in certain countries, you could actually instantly access that with Surfshark VPN. So basically hundreds of more options to select from in terms of anime, movies, and TV. Now the important part is using a secure VPN that encrypts your data. So what does that mean? Well, it means that while you're virtually traveling the globe, as long as you're using Surfshark VPN, your personal data is 100% protected. You may as well be invisible. Your personal data cannot be acquired by big companies or cyber criminals. And on top of this, Surfshark VPN automatically blocks ads and malware. You are completely protected no matter where you virtually travel to or what you watch. Not even Surfshark itself knows what you do online. And the best part is, for my viewers, you can actually get Surfshark right now today for 83% off and 3 months free by using my code MORGE. The link is in the description below. And you get a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have literally no risk trying it out. Again, code MORGE, link in the description below. So to begin with, let me remind you all just how unlikely it is that Oda would actually kill off an entire island of innocent people outside of a flashback. We need to separate incidents like Ohara from incidents in the modern day, as we know that Oda in flashbacks is very willing to kill characters, whereas in the modern day, he has extreme difficulty killing any characters at all. The simple reason being that when something really terrible happens 20 years ago, it can effectively add drama and weight to the modern day storyline, while still being detached enough from modern day events that the rest of the narrative can play out with the usual feel-good One Piece style of storytelling, where the heroes make everything right, and they all live happily ever after. The same applies, of course, to major tragedies like Ohara. Just because Oda is willing to do something particularly large and tragic like that 20 years ago does not in any way mean that he would be willing to do that today. But even if you don't buy that, we've also got to consider that Lulusia Kingdom isn't just some random island with nameless faces. See, I could possibly believe that Oda would replicate an Ohara-style event in the modern day if it was a completely unknown location that was being destroyed. But Lulusia Kingdom has named characters, and honestly, a particularly sweet, beloved minor character, Moda the Milkmaid. I mean, this is an island where the villagers have gone through a heroic uprising of their own. After being hung out to dry by the celestial dragons and left at the mercy of pirates, they found the strength and courage to fight back and defend their island from evil. Lulusia Kingdom has a particularly charming little story as far as minor islands go. Is there any chance at all that Oda of all writers would just kill all of these people off? Keep in mind, Oda was unwilling to even kill off battle-hardened samurai who literally live for the honor of a noble death. The entire Battle of Wano was marked by barely any casualties at all, and we hardly hear about any number of major losses among the hordes of these suicidal samurai. In what world is Oda going to be killing off all of the innocent, helpless people of Lulusia Kingdom when the literal war of Wano went off with so little bloodshed. If Oda can't even kill off Kinemon, who is literally begging to die, you really think he killed off a milkmaid? And the final point is that this Lulusia Kingdom event is so sudden, so out of the blue with no real dramatic buildup, and doesn't even end the chapter. It's just a brief, sudden incident that takes place in the middle. If Oda is finally revisiting the idea of genocide in the series, then you would think that we would get something at least closer to the drama of Ohara, where the real weight and magnitude of the incident is elaborated on over multiple chapters and given proportional story focus. And to top it off, let's remember there's no chance Oda would ever kill off a character as important as Sabo in such an abrupt and offhand manner. I mean, look at the level of dramatic buildup that went into the death of Ace. Do any of us truly believe that Oda would go ahead and just kill Luffy's other brother off so casually, especially considering Sabo is clearly set up for a major role going forward in the story? And maybe you're sitting there ignoring everything I'm saying because you're thinking, look, it's the final saga. Maybe Oda's just completely changed his writing style, and from here on out he will happily, out of the blue, kill off entire islands of innocent people, including named side characters and milkmaids. It's the endgame, everything's just going to be different. And sure, maybe that is the case. It is a possibility. But I'm saying let's pretend for a second that this is still the same Oda that we've known for the last 1,000 chapters, and look at instead the remarkably suspicious sequence of information that we have been given ever since we saw that cliffhanger of Lulusia Kingdom's supposed destruction. See, immediately after the Lulusia Kingdom incident, literally immediately afterwards, we found out that assassins are being sent with the order to execute Vegapunk for some reason. This is an absolutely huge decision by the world government. After all, Vegapunk is responsible for basically their entire military technology. All of their futuristic advancements and greatest weapons, he is the guy that is giving them absolute power over the seas. And yet, despite that, Vegapunk has done something so big that has made them decide that he must be eliminated. And Oda outright hints that it is something related to the Lulusia Kingdom. What could Vegapunk have done? Well, right off the bat, Oda showed us that Vegapunk, among all the characters in the world, Vegapunk has the exact tools that would be needed to not only stop the destruction of Lulusia Kingdom, but to even fool the world government, at least temporarily, into thinking that they succeeded in the kingdom's destruction. What are the first things that we are shown Vegapunk can do with the power of science? The first thing we are shown is technology that literally counters light. Vegapunk is somehow able to fight back and even damage holograms. He has anti-light technology. And the attack that destroyed the Lulusia Kingdom seems to very clearly be a light-based attack, seeming like giant lasers, light beams raining down from the sky. If anyone can stop a light attack of this magnitude, it would be Vegapunk, likely using some sort of giant anti-light shield. In fact, we can get even more specific. What about a giant bubble shield that surrounded Lulusia Kingdom? I mean, we were literally just introduced to this bubble shield technology as supposedly the ultimate defense. Now you might be saying, well, Vegapunk couldn't have stopped the attack because we can literally see the kingdom being destroyed. And that's where holograms come into play. Think about it. All through the opening chapters of Egghead, what are we being shown again and again? We are being shown that Vegapunk can play with our perceptions of what is real and not real. Over and over, this is what is commented on, to the point that it doesn't even make sense to the Straw Hats. We see holograms that are both tangible and intangible, walls that are simultaneously solid and not solid. Vegapunk is like a magician. He can make anything he wants appear to be real, and at the same time be a complete illusion. So look again at what happened to Lulusia Kingdom. It's an event that seems almost too shocking to be real. Oda offhandedly wiping out an entire island of people, not in a backstory but in the real, modern-day narrative. An island with multiple named characters, including characters that we would pretty much never expect Oda to cold-heartedly kill off. An island filled with citizens that have had their own miniature feel-good storyline in the past. They are all seemingly just randomly wiped out by a giant light-based attack. Then the next arc starts and we are immediately introduced to a character that has, wouldn't you know it, anti-light technology. who can literally interact with and fight back against light. And he can create bubble shields that are supposedly the ultimate defense. And finally, he has the ability to create holograms that are simultaneously tangible and intangible, such that he can create whatever illusions he wants and show viewers any image he so chooses, such as a dragon, a fake wall, or maybe, say, a fake destroyed kingdom? But now you might be saying, wait Morge, that kind of seems plausible, but it seems like such a stretch of Vegapunk's abilities. How would he suddenly know that Lulusia Kingdom is about to be destroyed? How would he suddenly set up a giant bubble shield and suddenly set up a hologram that would give the illusion of Lulusia Kingdom being destroyed? Just because Vegapunk technically has anti-light technology, bubble shield defenses, and technically can make holograms, isn't it a huge leap to think that he would be able to immediately set all of this up on an island level scale? And more importantly, why would he even do it for Lulusia Kingdom? How would he even know to do it for Lulusia Kingdom in advance? See, that was what didn't make sense to me either for the longest time, until it clicked. The simple answer to it all is Stussy. It's true, it would not make sense for Vegapunk to set all of this technology up to protect Lulusia Kingdom on short notice, right before Im attempted to destroy it. But what if Vegapunk always had protection set up for Lulusia Kingdom from the start? All that's missing is a simple motivation for Vegapunk to do so. And with Stussy, we have that motivation, because Stussy, well, Stussy is from Lulusia Kingdom. It's so simple, it's classic Oda clues that are so subtle but make sense when you line them all up. Stussy is a vampire, and Lulusia Kingdom is the home of vampires. We can see it in the rulers of Lulusia Kingdom. They are clearly the same race as Stussy. And so far, Stussy is the first and only person we know of who Vegapunk definitely has a close relationship with. Vegapunk trusted her to fight CP0 for him. Stussy betrayed CP0 for Vegapunk. Vegapunk is literally her creator. He is in a sense her father figure. He may very well have a parental relationship with her. Now you might be saying, well, Stussy was grown in a lab, so even though she has a relationship with Vegapunk, she wouldn't necessarily have a relationship with the land of Lulusia Kingdom. And sure, that's possible. I do think it's equally possible that she would have returned to the land of vampires at some point and lived there, so it would in a sense have still been her homeland, as those are her people, since she herself states that she has not been at Egghead Island in ages. However, let's say hypothetically that Stussy herself has no personal connection to Lulusia Kingdom. Maybe she never went back there to live there. Well, her original counterpart, Miss Bakin, obviously did. As a natural-born character, she obviously must be a true vampire from Lulusia Kingdom. Lulusia Kingdom is Bakin's homeland, and it is likely that Vegapunk is close to Bakin. They worked at MADS together, and unlike the other MADS members, Bakin seems to still have a good relationship with Vegapunk, even happy to take other characters to go see Vegapunk. I mean, considering how close Vegapunk and the Bakin clone are, I wouldn't be surprised if Vegapunk is also very close to the original Bakin. So you can take your pick, but the connection is clearly there between Vegapunk and the Lulusia Kingdom. Maybe it's for Stussy's sake, or maybe it's for Bakin's sake, but a motivation has clearly been planted for Vegapunk to be looking out for the land of vampires. This is absolutely nothing new in One Piece. We've seen time and time again that any character with any degree of power will look out for the homeland of their friends. We see Whitebeard do it, we see Luffy do it. Vegapunk has likely simply done it with science. As a man with so much knowledge, knowing what Im could potentially do to any island he chooses to extinguish, Vegapunk very likely went ahead and set up certain countermeasures on certain islands that he would want to protect no matter what. Maybe it's just Egghead and Lulusia Kingdom, maybe there are more, but the point is that there is clearly a reason why Vegapunk would have set up protections on Lulusia Kingdom specifically well before Im's attack. So, just taking a step back, what we are looking at is a very strange incident, a total genocide of an innocent island, which is extremely out of character for Oda, outside of flashbacks. After this strange incident that makes no sense, we are fed a certain number of coincidences that, when all stacked together, make for the perfect explanation of why this very strange incident didn't actually occur. We are introduced to a character who has the exact ability that would be needed to stop this genocidal attack, who also happens to have the exact ability that would be needed to trick the world government and the reader into making it seem like the attack was a success when it actually wasn't, who also happens to have a clear motivation to protect that particular island from attacks, and who just so happens to all of a sudden be the target of execution by the world government because he has recently done something that has made them realize that he knows too much. So here's the full theory of what I believe happened. What if Im attempts to destroy the Lulusia Kingdom with this giant light attack? What Im doesn't know is that Vegapunk, as the world's smartest man, at some point figured out something about Im, maybe about his existence, or what he can do, or the fact that he may sometimes choose to destroy certain islands, and in preparation, Vegapunk has already made sure to arm certain islands he cares about with proper defense capabilities against Im's attacks. Islands such as, say, the island that Miss Bakin, his former colleague, is from, the same island that Stussy, his daughter figure's lineage, is from. Vegapunk wants to protect the Lulusia Kingdom, so he already had defenses set up from long ago. Vegapunk can clearly set up a bubble shield around the island, which is supposedly the ultimate defense. And such a shield would naturally be imbued with anti-light capabilities, which Vegapunk specializes in. Im fires his giant light attack to destroy the Lulusia Kingdom, and either Vegapunk's defenses automatically kick in, or Vegapunk is somehow tipped off and manually activates them. It doesn't matter, but Lulusia Kingdom is protected from the light attack by a giant bubble shield. A hologram of a destroyed Lulusia Kingdom is what the world government sees, as holograms are also Vegapunk's specialty. But in actuality, the people of Lulusia Kingdom and Sabo are alive and well. Most likely, the people of Lulusia Kingdom immediately evacuate after this once they realize they barely survived annihilation and need to get out of there. Essentially, exactly identical to what we saw play out in Skypiea, as the Skypians evacuated and ran away in the wake of the Rygo. Now, of course, a hologram wouldn't fool the world government forever. All that would be needed would be some agents be sent over to check the aftermath of the destruction, and as soon as they realize that Lulusia Kingdom is not in fact destroyed, and all they are looking at is in fact a giant hologram of a destroyed kingdom, well, that's it. The world government would realize that the culprit would very obviously be Vegapunk, which would make the world government realize that Vegapunk knows too much about Im and his powers, and it's time for Vegapunk to be killed off. Which is why we start the arc of Egghead Island shortly after the Lulusia Kingdom incident, with CP0 being sent to execute Vegapunk, and the Marines in the process of being dispatched to aid in the process. The timeline lines up pretty much perfectly. So does this explain how the Lulusia Kingdom and Sabo survived? Let me know in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this video then definitely like and subscribe, and you can get my extended thoughts on this and all future topics by becoming a member. Just hit the button below.